everywhere. This is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. And I am your insecure host, Mike Azalina, and I'm joined by my very less insecure buddy, Regzy Boo. Welcome to the show.
What could you possibly be insecure about?
Regz, it is bathing suit season. I'm going to Cancun tomorrow, and I am very insecure.
You wake up at 6 a.m. and what do you work out for, an hour and a half?
Yes.
Okay. I'm allowed to talk about being insecure in a bathing suit. You are not.
I feel like right now, though, you're not understanding. It's Cancun.
So
There's high expectations in Cancun.
See, I'm at the point of the who gives a rat's a what everyone else is looking at.
That's fair, man.
And
I get
also,
it.
like, we're practically YouTube stars, so I'm not sure how you could be insecure about anything with the subscriber count flying like we are.
I got to understand better what's happening. It must be the two-way miss, because it's certainly not this mug that's getting all the followers in. I'll tell you that.
I don't care what it is. Something's going on.
Was it 51, 52?
51 as of right before we started recording.
The goal for the year was 50.
That's right.
And here we are. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. Listen, you're right. I feel far less insecure about wearing a bathing suit in Cancun now.
All right, good. Happy I could help. Happy I could help.
I so appreciate you, but I more so appreciate everybody who's been listening and subscribing and following. As I say, please click subscribe below when you're watching on YouTube, because here we are. It is not even, we are barely halfway through the year. Like, we are about to hit the halfway point. The goal was to reach 50. We've reached 50. Now I feel like I want to like raise it even and say that we should get to 60, but I feel like let's leave it and not,
Listen, we're letting the rocket ship ride. Once we achieve the goal, there'll be new goals next year. So whatever that number gets to, we're going to have to do a little bit better.
I get you. You're right, though. I shouldn't be insecure after 50 YouTube subscribers.
We're practically famous.
I mean, we're almost there, right? Is that what they
This
say?
close.
60 and then you're famous. Is that it?
I would have believed you at 20, honestly.
Listen, we only expected to have 5.
That's right. If that.
You, me, our wives, and my mom.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was
my wife doesn't watch, so my wife's out.
Neither does mine.
We would have needed someone else.
We would have needed 2 other people, because mine doesn't watch either. So whoever you are taking up,
whoever you are,
we love you very much, and we
do.
appreciate you more than we can even begin to describe. That is for sure. But the insecure take, Regz. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before the show. What a joke Marcus Hayes is. For those that don't know,
where did that even come from?
I don't know. He wasn't like a Jalen Hurts guy to begin with. He just wasn't a Jalen Hurts guy to begin with. But for those that don't know, he came out yesterday on Jakeeb Sports, which is becoming one of the biggest jokes in Philadelphia media, and said that Jalen Hurts is the most insecure athlete in Philadelphia. And I don't even know how you come up with that idea. I don't know how that is even a thought in your head, that he is the most insecure athlete in Philadelphia. The dude squats like 3 of Marcus Hayes. And so I'm not quite sure.
And have you seen how he looks and how he dresses? An insecure guy doesn't do that.
You know who's not insecure about going to the beach in Cancun?
Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Like the dude is jacked.
I just was so confused how he used it as a way to explain his work ethic. Almost
that he has to work harder.
Right.
In order to atone for his inabilities. And it makes people like him more. So that's why he's so insecure that he works harder. It doesn't make sense.
But that takes away from what we've clearly seen as this is who this guy is.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
I understand he has to work very hard because he's not like 6'6", right? He's not the best thrower of the football we've ever seen. There are certainly things from a football standpoint that he can improve on. Yeah. But to say that guy is insecure a guy like that doesn't come into this kind of veteran team and immediately become the leader of it. Like that doesn't happen. Guys see right through that, especially in a football locker room. Like that stuff is apparent in an instant.
Mhm.
And if you're just working on things to like sort of prove yourself and not with the mentality that Jalen has, just we're like, this is who we are. We're just going to keep getting better because we're not perfect. We're not where we want to be. Like the goal hasn't been achieved yet. And to say that comes from a place of insecurity is asinine. It's ridiculous.
Well, if you followed Marcus Hayes' career, that fits the mold pretty well.
I don't, so I'm glad I don't.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. Yeah, and we're not going to spend a whole lot more time here. I just think for me, as somebody who is so appreciative that we finally have a quarterback who puts in the effort and puts in the time and wants to get better and doesn't just rest on the laurels of what he did the year before. I don't know how you don't appreciate that, other than you're just looking for a take to get people to click, right?
And it also seems, I don't know Jalen Hurts personally, but like it seems 1,000% authentic. Like if Carson Wentz was doing this kind of stuff, it would be to make up for the fact that he's like really weird in other situations. Like he's lost people in the locker room. So he'd be trying to rah guys on, being like, come on guys, goal's not done, like blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, you lost us when you walked in the room. You know what I mean? Because we could smell, like they can smell it. Like that is not Jalen Hurts.
Did you see people turn on Carson again like this week with the bear? You didn't see his Instagram post with like the black bear that he got hunting?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, and he posted it, and people just turned on the guy. Like, look, he's been a hunter since he's been here.
That's what I mean. I'm not going to begrudge a guy for legally hunting a non-endangered animal. You know what I mean?
I will say this though. He called it a beautiful animal.
Okay, but that's like sort of what hunters do. You know what I mean? It's like
I know.
Again, I am not a hunter by any means.
He's a weird guy, Regz. He's a weird guy.
I'm not a hunter by any means, but like there are laws around this kind of stuff. So like if he did it legally and the thing didn't suffer, like I'm not sure how you get too mad about it, but all right, that's another conversation.
Pretty much stalked it. I don't know. He's a weird dude. We know he's a weird dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Jalen Hurts thing. I appreciate you talking me out of being insecure.
Always here for you.
When I'm in Cancun, I'll be insecure until I get there.
I hugged you like a week ago. You were like hard as a rock. I don't know what you're insecure about. Hugging me's like hugging a marshmallow. So like I'm not sure why you're the one being insecure about this stuff.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Thank you. I appreciate that compliment. That's like a very kind thing.
It's just the truth. I'm not, there's no compliment. It's just what happened.
I can't wait to chop this up and post it. This is going to be the most hilarious pool that we've ever had. Okay. So real quickly on the Sixers, not a whole lot there. They didn't draft anybody. They signed three pretty interesting rookie free agents that we'll keep an eye on as we get closer. Like once rookie ball gets going. One I know from NC State because of him playing Duke, and he can score the basketball, but I don't know. It feels like it just feels like they're all going to be in the G League next year, and that's the end of it. However, there is one piece of interesting information that has dropped across the desk of Sixer fans everywhere, and that's that they are really shopping Toby. And I said to you before we started tonight that it feels as though they're not going to run it entirely back. Like, yes, it seems as if they're going to bring back James Harden, but they're not going to bring back Toby. And we've gotten on James Harden and we've gotten on Joel Embiid. I don't think we've spent nearly the amount of time that we should have dedicating our frustrations to Tobias Harris and his inability to show up in playoffs here. I mean, what do you have in game 7? He had 2? Or was that game 6?
One of the games he had 2. Yeah.
He had two, Regz. I think I could accidentally score 2 in his minutes in an NBA game. I truly believe that.
I'm of two minds here.
Tell me.
One mind is that
I could score 2 points in a game.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even going to talk about that. That's just a foregone conclusion. Given your intramural track record, I'm not sure how you wouldn't.
Thank you.
I just think that to play, one half of me is that it's very difficult to play with James Harden when he's playing the way he wants to play. Like you basically have to stand around for 20 seconds and then be ready to shoot, hopefully an open shot with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. It's not easy. It's the reason those Houston teams were full of nobodies and just James Harden, like because other guys didn't want to play in that system. You don't touch the ball. You're not like jazzed up to keep playing the game really hard the whole time.
Right.
So it takes a certain type of person and player to be able to play in that environment and like still make the cuts and still move. Like Maxey seems to not be affected by it. I think his aura of happiness protects him from like the evil that James Harden puts out on a basketball court. So a guy like that, doesn't seem to be too affected by it. But it really is that, look, playing like that is very difficult. I think that's a part of it. I think that's a part that we shouldn't really gloss over. But look, he also didn't take advantage of the times like when Joel is out. Like, you're the second option, dude. Yeah. Like, or you could be. Maxey is a second-year player. Like, you've been in the league for a while, man. You put up some good numbers on some teams. There's no reason you couldn't be ready to play in those situations. And most of the time, you just didn't show up. So I think there's two sides to it. I think it's probably a good time to move off of him, we've talked about it before, how valuable these expiring contracts are to certain types of teams, that hopefully there will be a place to move him. And look, I think you will miss him as the type of body type that this team desperately needs, a 6'8", 6'9" wing player who can play some decent defense and at times could be a pretty good sort of catch and shoot 3-point shooter. I just without him, I'm not sure who fills that role with that size that he has. It's basically nobody. So that's a little scary. The team gets very small and very bad defensively very quickly when you move Toby off the roster. So they'd have to do something about that. Like that has to be what they try and either get back in a trade, or they have to have that lined up before they get rid of him.
And I mean, you clear a ton of cap space if he goes.
Absolutely.
So, but we've talked about the idea of what else is out there, and I don't know that there's a whole lot. But here's one report. I mentioned it to you before we started, and you were like, "What?" And it was an offer to the Cavs that would send Toby to the Cavs for Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, and a pick.
You couldn't trade Tobias Harris for Evan Mobley straight up.
Not to mention Jarrett Allen, who's a pretty decent defensive and a good lob catching center. And then add a pick.
Yeah, absurd.
It makes me think like we're actually not trading him.
I still think there are going to be a bunch of teams that are gobbling up these expiring deals just to create as much cap space as possible the next year.
The Suns, Jazz, and the Mavericks have also inquired about.
Yeah.
So what you can get from those teams, I don't know.
I mean, the Suns have nobody left.
Right. That's what I mean. What do you get from the Suns?
Yeah, I don't
know. Aside from potentially picks, but how many picks do they have left?
I don't think they have many, if at all.
The Jazz, I guess, could be interesting depending on what you bring back. And
just talking about that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think I saw a tweet that said after the Suns made their second round pick, they didn't have a second round pick till 2031.
The Suns don't have a second round pick till 2031?
Yeah.
My goodness. Holy moly. I mean, look, I've always believed that Morey's really good at his job. I'm not gonna sit here and change my mind on that right now. I am going to sit here and say that I'm having a hard time believing that this is going to end up working out.
Yeah. It's tough to see where it's going at this point.
I want to believe in him, Regz. I want to believe in him. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, it's tough.
But I want to. I'll tell you that. All right. So that's about it there. We'll keep you posted on the Toby stuff and anything Sixers. Obviously, this week we'll be off because I'm away, but we'll be back with something when I get back. And if something happens in the meantime, Regz will probably pop on and do a quick.
We'll jump on real
thing
quick
on his own and talk through it. But let's go across the street to the bank. When we met last week, things were great. We were feeling really positive. They were coming off, what was it, like 5 consecutive series wins?
Yeah.
You know, it was everything was golden. Not that I'm crying into my pillow tonight. Like, I'm not there. You know, they have a chance to win a series tomorrow, and we'll all be fine walking away with a series win, especially from New York, who we never seem to beat, and heading out onto the road against, you know, the Cubs in Washington. Well, Cubs for 3, and then you come home to play Washington. You could do some real damage there and clean up a little bit more. But I think where people are bothered is the way they're losing games right now.
Yeah.
1-3 in their last 4. They had one that got postponed against Atlanta. They'll make up in September, and it's on September 11th, which means that Castellanos will hit 9 home runs in that. Here's the thing though, Regz. When we met last week, the conversation was the offense is finding it.
Yep.
We have to figure out some consistency in the pitching outside of, like, at that point, Ranger had found it. Taiwan was on fire.
Yep.
Wheels was coming around. Aaron was still, you know, being Aaron, and we had nobody in the 5th starter spot. Since our conversation, Ranger continued to dominate. What was it? 5 scoreless, 6 scoreless?
6, I think.
6 scoreless against Atlanta. Knowles went 6 innings with a run.
Bit,
Yep, with a run. Last night, Taijuan Walker dominated the Mets. Just dominated the Mets. Chris Sanchez against Oakland on Saturday was fantastic. And Wheeler was great on Sunday. And then today, Sanchez was good again.
Yeah. Really all you could ask from that guy.
He gave up a home run in the first, and then he gave up a run on a leadoff. Was a triple from their 1 through 4 guys were awesome. Their 5 through 9 guys were like 1 for 16, the Mets.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was the same guys that beat you. If you get them out, you're going to beat them. It's really that simple. But the offense has just gone missing. I mean, 3 inning ending double plays today. Harp is
he's in his own head, man.
He is so
he's got to calm down.
Schwarber is kind of, I don't know. He's not been, I mean, he struck out 3 times looking today. It's not great. Cassidy's been awesome. Trey's kind of been back and forth. Like,
Trey's kind of back to not being. He had that hit. Yeah, he had a couple good hits in the past 2 games, but
two big hits in 2 days. But it's just not the consistency that we expected.
Right.
Cassidy's been great. JT's been utter
just
dreck.
terrible. Why is he hitting 5th?
Because there's no one else to hit 5th.
Why can't Stott hit 5th?
Because they don't want to have 2 lefties in a row.
Yeah.
Then, you know, Stott's been fantastic. Marsh has come back around. Bohm's sort of taking a nosedive, and then you're Sosa and Cody Clemens. And, you know, we've been on here saying, you know, we love what Edmundo brings you in the role that he's supposed to play. And I think we would say the same about Cody Clemens. We were on this show talking about Cody a couple weeks ago and how, you know, we were really appreciative. He's been great in the role that he's been in, but we're starting to see things sort of come into form a little bit for Cody. And he's showing he can't do this every day.
Right. You're starting to see why these guys aren't starters in Major League Baseball.
They're role players.
Right.
And, you know, you without if you're going to go through a season where you just don't have your basic 9, and I'd even venture to say, like, you know, we thought Derek Hall would be that basic 9.
Yeah.
The problem is that they're trying to keep Derek Hall away from the main roster and let him get at bats in the minors, because when Bryce is ready to play first base, there's nowhere for Derek Hall to go.
Yeah.
So they're trying to stick it out as long as they can, in my eyes. But right now, I don't know if there's any solution to the offensive inconsistency other than keep running him out.
I'm not. Well, there really isn't. There isn't an option. I mean, there's nothing we can do. Bohm, I don't know. JT is like, look, I haven't been relying on that guy offensively in 3 years, so I'm not.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to say one thing about the JT problem.
Yeah.
Or situation. Here's my frustration about today. Look at JT's career numbers against Max Scherzer. What's he doing in the lineup today?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no reason for him to be in the lineup. I get Garrett Stubbs is you know, anybody's really a step down when it comes to like comparing, you know what I mean? But like, this is a game you play Garrett Stubbs.
Yeah.
JT has no prayer against Max Scherzer. He has in his whole career.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? All right, go
know.
back to it.
No. That's a good point. I haven't relied on him offensively in 3 years, so I don't know. I think Bohm I don't know what's up with him, man. I don't know what's going on. Like in spring training and the start of the season, like I don't know what happened. That sort of approach and his confidence in that approach has just completely gone away. Which is a huge bummer because we really needed him to kind of step up here, especially with Reese going down. And then the thing that I'm seeing overall is that I think the little whispers about their power is starting to get to everybody. Yeah. No one is acting like the opposite field exists when they hit. No one.
Cassie.
Well, you're right. I'm gonna leave Castellanos out of all of these.
He's the only guy that's going well.
He's the only one who's been absolutely raking all season.
Yeah.
And that homer he hit today was a absolute moonshot.
Middle of the field moonshot.
Yeah, 3/4 the way up the wall is an absolute tank. But when I see the rest of them, like it kind of starts with Harper and Turner. They're trying to pull everything.
Uh-huh.
When we saw Turner kind of be like, oh, here we go, especially in Arizona, he had so many doubles and extra base hits down that right side when he was hitting well. And then they get in this thing that like, all right, I have to pull everything. I have to just hit it as hard as possible. It's literally the thing Castellanos was doing last year. He was flipping over on everything. Bryce missed some fastballs tonight that were outer half. And Bryce, when he's on, hits those into the left center gap like all day long. Mm-hmm. And he's just pulling out on everything because he's trying to pull the ball and get out of this power slump. JT the same way. I don't understand why a guy like that doesn't try and hit the ball to right field every time he's at.
But that's what that's always been what makes him successful.
That's what I mean. Like this should be his only approach. Yeah. And I even kind of see it with Stott a little bit. The number of times we would see Stott like just flip these things into right field all the time.
He did today. He had that nice little shot.
He did, yeah. But like, I just need to see it more consistently. Mm-hmm. It's where all these guys. It's again, like I said, top to bottom. Besides Castellanos, they've just forgotten what hitting, like driving the ball to the opposite field, does for your hitting approach. Mm-hmm. It changes everything because you don't have to try and pull that ball in the outside half, which is impossible. Like it's impossible.
Yeah, that's at that speed.
Right. It's
so
impossible. And it just turns into these weak ground balls that turn into ending double plays when you've got runners on base with less than 2 outs. Like it's just what this whole season has been. It's been what Trey's problem has been. It's now what Bryce's problem is. It's always been JT's problem. And Bohm, for whatever reason, like is just, I don't know. He's kind of nowhere. He's not really doing much of anything. He's just got to get out of his own head and figure this stuff out. But they got to stop being worried about the home runs. I don't care if you're like how many home runs you hit. You're getting a bunch of chances to score. And we saw what really good teams do. Do you know what the Braves did every time they got a runner on first? They moved him to second and they moved him to third, and then they got a single to get the run home. Like,
it's a good baseball team.
Exactly, but that's what I mean. That's what a good baseball team does.
They're a really good baseball team.
And you could see it in their approaches. Even the guys at the bottom of the lineup were like, there is no way I'm turning over my hands on this baseball. Like you saw guys literally up there like, right, keeping their hands back as long as possible to make sure the ball went to right field. Yeah. Because that's what the play needed. Like, and I see an overall lack of like acknowledgement of approach and the sort of, I don't know. I don't know what gets him out of it. I don't know if Kevin Long needs to say, like, keep saying something. I don't know, like, if they just need to, like, forget about this whole power slump thing that everybody's talking about. Like, I don't know what it is, but the approaches have to be better. They just have to be. Like, if that was happening, if as a team I was seeing them trying to do these things and they were still getting out, at least you could say, look, we're just getting a little unlucky. But when they step up to the plate, they have an idea of the situation and they're just trying to do the right thing. Like, okay, maybe it's not going to happen. Like, right, we'll get there, right? But at least we're approaching our at-bats and our offense the right way. Right now, it's just everyone's going up there trying to hit a home run every time they swing. And it's turning into nothing. It turns into nothing.
Yeah. They're leaving the guys on base that they've been leaving and not scoring runs in the way that even going into Oakland. And I kept making the excuse, you know what? It's a West Coast trip. It's hard to get up for games when you're playing a team like Oakland. But they really stopped scoring runs when they got to Oakland.
Yeah.
They went into Oakland. They scored 8 in the first game in Arizona, 15 in the second game, 4 and 5, which is still, that's fine. That number's fine.
Right.
6 in game 1 in Oakland, then 3 the next 2 days. But they scratched 3 of those 2 games. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like, it felt like they struggled to get 3. 2 against Atlanta, 1 against Atlanta, 5 last night, 2 today. But
5 was really 2. Atlanta the Mets gave us 3 runs.
That's what I was just going to say. And those games against Atlanta were so winnable.
Oh my God. Yeah, they were.
Ranger was so good. Aaron was so good.
With the pitching that you get like that against that kind of lineup, you gotta win.
You gotta win those games. Yeah. You just have to.
With the talent in this lineup, you have to score more runs. Like you just have to.
Yeah. Now they have the pitching advantage tomorrow. They face Carrasco and Wheeler goes for the Phils. So the pitching advantage is there. Then they have a day off before they go to Chicago for 3. And then it's Washington for 3. So, you're looking at the opportunity here to go 4-2 on the road, 5-1 on the road, something. And 5-1 on the road, probably, especially if you win tomorrow. If you win tomorrow and you go 5-1, you're 45-38.
Yeah.
Like that's a damn good number.
Yeah.
45-38. And still like they're sniffing that wild card spot. They're sniffing it, but guess who's right behind them? The Cubs.
Yeah.
So you got to get a little bit of separation here from the Cubs. And you're tied with Milwaukee right now for the spot right behind LA, but you're really 4 games out of that spot.
Yeah.
So, LA and Miami aren't losing a lot. Francisco's, but here's what I will say about San Francisco and Miami. I do see them coming back down.
They have to.
Both teams.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of opportunities against Miami to make that happen. I understand that Miami's been an Achilles for us, but we've also, last year we beat them when we had to beat them.
Yeah.
So, it'd be nice to kind of get, because, once you.
What, I got to ask you, what do you see with this offense? Like what gets them out of this? Like what in your eyes is happening? Because I don't want to be the only one who speaks to it. More about this stuff than I do. So like what in your mind is doing this?
So let me just finish up the schedule thing, then I'll talk about it. So they need to do damage against Chicago and Washington.
Yes.
Because then they get Tampa for 3.
Yes.
On the road. And then they get Miami for 3 on the road, which is a house of horrors for them.
Yes.
So you need to go 5-1 on the road. You need to win 5-1 on the road, and then hopefully go 3-3 when you get down to Florida, because good God, that's not going to be a fun 6 games, because then it's the All-Star break. You get some time to collect, and hopefully, you come back and your schedule lightens up quite a bit. Like it really lightens up quite a bit. So, you get into those months and you just got to get to the All-Star break in a good spot. For me, the offense is a lot of being too aggressive in the spots you shouldn't be aggressive in, and not aggressive enough in the spots you should be aggressive in. I think that their approaches right now are kind of all over the place. There's no consistency to the approach. There's a lot of chasing happening. Again, they started off fine against Senga last night, but then they went right back to what they did the first time around.
Yeah.
You know, again, this is a guy who throws a lot of balls intentionally to get you to chase, and they did what he wanted them to do as the game went on. I don't get on him too much for the Scherzer stuff because he's so talented, but Scherzer's not the same guy. He hasn't been the same guy all year.
He wasn't throwing the same as he sometimes does against us. You know what I
His
mean?
ERA is over 4.
Yeah.
It was just bad at bats.
Yeah.
We saw it with Bryce last night. Bryce is chasing balls when Bryce is going right, he spits on pitches like this.
Yeah.
There's like today he swung at a 3-0 pitch right down the middle.
Yeah.
And missed it. I mean, it was right down center cut fastball.
Yep.
And he swung right through.
He missed 2 the at bat before that too.
Yeah, it's just right now there's really no comfort when they're standing in the box. And it's weird because a week ago they looked so comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a guy hit for the cycle. You put up 15 runs. You put up 24 runs in 2 days. You scored 40 runs in 4 nights.
Yeah.
It's really right now the approaches to me are the thing that's really creating the lack of run production. There's no, and I think a lot of it is what you mentioned, Regz. It's a lot of they're being jumpy. They're trying. They're swinging big.
Mm-hmm.
The harp swing was big. The only guys not really swinging big right now are Bryson Stott and Nick Castellanos. I think even Brandon Marsh has some swings around. What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Cut it in half.
Right.
Well, you know why you were so good to start the year? Because you were cutting it in half.
Right.
Your swing wasn't big. When you get big, you get loopy. When you get loopy, you hit a lot of pop-ups and you swing.
Yeah.
And that's what some of these guys are doing. I don't know that anybody's gotten comfortable. I think they don't have a true protector right now for Bryce. Again, I'll go back to not having Rhys Hoskins is just killing this team.
Yeah.
It is killing them. Not having Rhys Hoskins to see pitches. That's a dude who, no matter what, saw pitches all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He set a tone.
Yeah.
He set a tone.
Nobody
he was up there.
just takes pitches on this lineup.
I mean, Kyle does.
Yeah.
And Bryson. Bryson takes a ton of pitches.
Kyle's eyes a little bit off right now, though. Like you said, staring at a bunch of strikes.
But that was one thing Rhys Hoskins did better than anybody else. He averaged like 4.5, 5 pitches in at bat.
Yeah.
Which is a really difficult thing to do in Major League Baseball. That's a hard thing to do. And they're missing that. They're missing that. They're missing a lot, right?
Do you think switching Casty and Bryce would help?
Maybe. I know that he wants Casty up right now in the first inning. He wants Casty to get a lot more bats. What I would consider doing is hitting Casty second, hitting Bryce third, and hitting Turner fourth.
That's kind of what they were doing during that stretch, right?
That's what I would consider doing right now. And
then you could move Stott 5 and push JT down.
You could push JT down to 7 because you'd hit Bohm 6th. And then Marsh hits 8th, and between Cody and Mundo's hitting 9th.
Yeah.
But they're kind of stuck. They're kind of stuck. We had talked prior last week about because here's the other thing I want to address. Was that a good enough answer?
Yes, it was. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. The approaches. It's the approaches. Man.
Yeah.
So we had talked last week about like the Paul Goldschmidt stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pull back on it, and here's why. They've got to figure out a way to get Kyle Schwarber out of left field.
Yeah.
And if you bring Paul Goldschmidt over, Kyle Schwarber's playing left field all year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts because Bryce cannot play the outfield this year.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get Kyle Schwarber out of the outfield, then you've got to acquire an outfielder to go out there and play every day. I have not looked closely enough to see what that would be, who that would be. Sure, you could say Pache, but I just don't know that. Again, I think he's another he's going to get exposed a little.
Yeah, like, look, I think we've seen it in spurts, but I think I'd rather him replace Marsh in center when
for
we
lefties.
need to.
Mm-hmm.
As
Or defensive
opposed to-
replacement late in the
Right,
game.
exactly. As opposed to like starting all the time in left field.
Yeah. So they need to consider looking at that as a because we had talked about, oh, do you go get a fifth starter? Do you bring Goldschmidt in and at that point the Schwarber stuff continues to be a problem.
It didn't feel this bad last year.
No, it didn't. I just think he's banged up.
It's
I really
worse.
believe he's banged up.
He keeps saying he's not.
Because he's not going to use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
They were
that
talking
play
about
the
this
other night was so bad.
Yeah, they were talking about this on the radio last night, and they talked about Schwarber and the defense, and they said, "Look, he's never going to make an excuse." He was standing there waiting for the media on Thursday, and he stood in the eye of it and took it. He took all of it, and good for him, right? Like good for him. It's exactly what it should be.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on good for you when it's really what you should do, but
not every player does.
No, that's fair. It's a fair point.
We've had guys in this city who won't stand there.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
And I will always appreciate a guy who's going to. That being said, they need to find a way to get him out of.
He's got to get off. He's got to get off his feet.
He's got to get out of left field. And I would love Paul Goldschmidt, but that doesn't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Now you could make the argument that the got all the way to the year. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But it wasn't this bad.
It wasn't this bad.
It wasn't this bad. So, they could certainly look at teams who are out of it and see what kind of outfielders are out there that could play every day when Bryce is, ready to play first base. I think, when you look at starting pitching, yes, Christopher Sanchez has only thrown twice, right? But he's been really effective 2 times.
Yeah. And
really effective.
And like you said, if somehow Painter can, again, just be 3 innings. If you can go 3-3 with him and Sanchez to start a game, I'd be perfectly happy with that.
So just lining it up before the All-Star break, Sanchez has maximum 2 more starts before the All-Star break. Okay. Then you get out of the All-Star break and you can line up your rotation however you want. You can line it up however you want. And now the problem is they do have a doubleheader coming All-Star break. So that's going to be a little bit of a tricky. They'll just use a bullpen game in those games.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how they have a doubleheader against San Diego when they haven't played San Diego yet. Did they play San Diego in San Diego?
I don't think so.
No. So why do they have a doubleheader? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just have a scheduled doubleheader. Okay, well, whatever. Must be something there that we missed. But so there's probably a Christopher Sanchez start coming out of there. If you can get to August, and again, he probably has 4 or 5 more starts, maybe 6 before August rolls around and pitches to this, then you're fine.
Yeah.
And at that point, then you consider bringing Painter up and allowing Painter and Sanchez to do like the 3+4 thing. And just, Sanchez has shown that he can go 2 times through.
Yeah.
So you get him 2 times through and let Painter go 1 time through. And you've got yourself 8 innings of baseball. And you don't have to use your bullpen in that game. Use one guy if they both do their jobs. So, I think that the focus, if this is what you think you can get from Sanchez, and this is the bullpen to me is, again, I don't touch the bullpen. I maybe upgrade the bench. That's something you can consider doing. I don't worry about the bullpen. I don't, I know people were upset today. I think Marte's been fine out there, and he's
the other
not really
night wasn't on him.
I was on Schwarber.
Yep. It was anybody would have gotten rattled after that. Basically you did your job.
Yeah.
And then the home run after that was like almost inevitable.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt that was happening.
Today he was just a little bit off. I think in general He's been fine. I don't know why Dylan Covey is still on this baseball team.
No, it doesn't make sense.
That's a different conversation.
Pilati's just rotting down in AAA
right. He needs to be up here. I don't want to ever see Dylan Covey pitch again.
So, the other thing that they could consider is trying Jake Cave for when Bryce is ready. If Bryce is ready after the All-Star break and you want to slide, him out to first base and bring Schwarber in, bring Cave up and let him and Pache platoon in left field for a little bit.
Yeah. Until
the trade deadline. I mean, again, he's another guy just rotting.
Hitting like 400 in AAA.
So when the time comes, you can do that. But your focus in regards to the trade deadline, to me right now, is a bat.
Yeah.
It's not, again, Sanchez has been good. It's a very small sample size.
Yeah.
But he's been better than anything else we've run out there.
But also, again, if you only need him to run through the lineup maybe 1.25 times,
you can go through twice.
Right. If Painter is coming up, like, you're putting him in an even better position to succeed.
Yeah.
And you're not taxing your bullpen as much.
Because if you do get to the postseason and you get to a series where you need to win 4 games, you've got your 4.
Yeah.
And you use Painter and Sanchez in another role then. But you've got your 4. The way that these guys are pitching right now, and again, Nola but we still hold on to the hope that Aaron Nola comes back around.
Yeah.
So when you're taking a look at the needs, and we're getting there. I mean, next week we're in July.
Yeah.
When I get back from Cancun, we are in July. And there's only, there's 5, 8, 14, 22 games till the deadline. After, when July 1st hits, you have 22 games until the deadline. At that point, we're already starting to talk about it. We're, count the games this week, 26 days, 26 games until the deadline. The conversations are starting.
Yeah.
You've got to have an idea what your plan is. And to me, the plan right now, especially if Painter's starting his rehab assignment, the plan right now is not a 5th starter. Now, if he has a setback,
well, yeah,
then I'm looking for another guy that I could piggyback on Sanchez. But otherwise,
knock on wood for us.
Yeah. Otherwise, your focus should be on an outfield bat, a guy that can go out and now, if it's Paul Goldschmidt, it's Paul Goldschmidt. We're just gonna have to accept Kyle Schwarber playing left field the rest of the year, and the offense will suck it up. But I think we all kind of want that.
Yeah.
That outfield
that needs to end.
Right yeah. And I again, you just gotta. By the time we get to the All-Star break, we'll have a better idea who's in, who's out. What teams are selling, what teams are not, and be able to make a better call. You look at it right now. Clearly, Colorado's selling. Clearly, Washington's selling.
Yeah.
Clearly, Kansas City selling, Oakland selling. I don't know that there are guys on those teams.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not sure who you're grabbing from that.
Yeah, from those teams that I'm looking at. I can tell you that if Washington's selling, a guy that I have interest in is that Lane. What's his name? Lane. Oh my gosh, is it Thomas?
It might be. Yeah.
I think it's Lane Thomas. I'm looking it up real quickly.
It is Lane Thomas.
Yeah, he's a guy I have interest in. I don't know what that kind of deal looks like. I don't know how the dude is. I don't think I know enough. Like, I know he leads off for them, and I know he's kind of a thorn in our side. He's in 290.
He is 27 years old.
Like, that's the kind of guy I'm looking at.
Yep.
That's the kind of guy that I'm looking at, and he plays a corner outfield position.
Yep.
So you stick him in the corner outfield. I'd have to see his contract, but he's from Knoxville. And his name's Lane Michael Thomas.
Oh my goodness!
Come on, Regz.
Here we go.
Regz.
Goodness gracious.
Regz. This might be my guy.
It might be.
Lane Thomas. But in all seriousness,
signed a 1-year, $2.2 million contract with the Nationals in January of 2023.
Was it arbitration?
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna look that up because I feel like this is the type of guy who makes sense with what you're trying to do. You know, he hits at the top, so you could consider even, you know, shuffling some things around lineup wise. Let me see, Sport Rack. Here you go. He is.
It's literally just where I went. It does say ARB1. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in his first year of arbitration, so he's got 2 more years. He's ARB eligible for 2 more years, which is right where you want to be. Now, is he the type of guy Nationals are going to trade? I don't know. Will they listen? Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, again, I think that's the type of guy you kind of start with. Like, and then if something else becomes available because something happens to be out, you know, who knows? But I think, like you said, that's kind of the guy you start with. Yeah, especially at that age.
Right. And again, it's kind of a Brandon Marsh situation. Now, Marsh is 25, but it gets you younger at another position.
Yeah.
He's clearly talented. You know, he's just talented on the wrong team. He's got 13 home runs. He's 291. His OPS is over 8. He'd have like the 3rd best OPS on the Phillies right
now. Yeah. And could easily play our outfield if he's playing the Nationals outfield. Like,
he's playing right for them. He could play. No,
left. That's what I mean. It's like going from a soccer field to a basketball court.
Yeah, and it even helps a little bit more to be able to move Marsh toward Casty some more because he can go get it. So he's a nice little fit. And again, you think about hitting him he's hitting he's just fine there.
Yeah.
You know, every time he hits, I get a little bit nervous. I do know that he's one of their only decent players in Washington. And he doesn't, I don't know that he quite fits the their time frame.
Right.
Because they still got another year or 2 until they're going to be.
Oh yeah, they're trying to get as young as possible.
Yeah, and he's 20. He's going to be 29. So you know he's the type of guy. Now he's not a platoon fit because I think he's a righty. I think he hits righty. Mm-hmm. So he's not a platoon fit. He'd have to play every day. Which you know then you could go back to your Pache and Marsh fit. For platoon.
Yeah, but again, if you wanted to put Marsh in left and run Marsh and or sub in Marsh, you know, if they got a righty reliever coming in, you'd be perfectly fine with Pache in center and Marsh in left. Like,
yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of ways to do it, and that's assuming that he's the type of guy they're going after. He should be the type of guy they're looking at.
Yeah.
He should be. There's no question about it. You should be a guy that you're looking at. He helps you both offensively and defensively. He changes the defensive complexity, allows Kyle to just DH.
Yeah.
And you know, it fixes a lot of things. It really does. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but outfield should be the focus. And Lane Thomas, and again, I haven't looked deep into what's going to be available come deadline time, but Lane Thomas would be he'd be a surefire target for me. From an outfield perspective. So, well, let's see here. We've got 7 games counting tomorrow. Again, you finish up with New York, and then you got 3 with Chicago, and you've got 3 with Washington. So it's home tomorrow, 3 on the road, 3 at home before you go on.
Listen, win tomorrow, win the series, go and do what you got to do against the Cubs and the Nationals. Like you said, get this thing set right. Going into July, like it's what you got to do. Then they can do it. Like they can do it.
Yep. Get me 6-1.
Yep.
Get me 6-1. Go take 2 out of 3 in Chicago. Come home, take care of the Nationals like you should.
Win all 3 at home. Yeah.
Let's not.
Yep.
You know, foot around at all. Just go do your job and take care of business. So when I come back, we're ready to fly.
Absolutely.
We're ready to fly into Florida before I lose my damn mind. That's really all I ask for. So, Regz, my fixated tonight. Since 2020, I've gone a very specific direction with my lifestyle. Since 2020, I have shaved my head every week, and I've loved it.
Yeah. As you can tell, I'm a big supporter.
Yeah, I know you are. You've done it since I've known you.
Literally since freshman year of college.
Yes. We shaved my head one time in college. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
We shaved it into a mohawk.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
It was.
I loved it.
Listen,
It was
the
great.
first time I realized that paying for a haircut was a case of beer, I bought a buzzer and we all shaved our head on the back porch.
That's right.
Or in the bathroom.
That's right. And that's when we did it. That's when we shaved my head for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil did it, and he shaved it into a mohawk, and it was great. It was great. It was great. It was actually a way for me to avoid my insecurity in meeting a girl that. That's what it was. It was, you know what? We're just gonna shave your head. Oh, sounds good. Let's do it. But since 2020, I've been doing it every week, and that's gonna come to an end. Regz, I am going to grow my hair. We're gonna move away from the shaving of the head.
It's wild stuff.
And we're gonna grow it back out into, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. I haven't figured out how the style.
I mean, I'm just gonna ask the question everyone's wondering: what brought about this change of heart?
Regz, I kind of miss my hair.
Okay, that's fair enough.
If I'm being honest with you,
sure.
I looked at a couple of pictures. My mom had some pictures. I was home today. This is probably a fair context to have. My mom had some pictures out today from not like long out of college, and really not like things that happened over the last like 5 years or so. And I was like, man, I had a really solid head of hair.
You did,
and
I remember.
But it got to a point during COVID where it was so long I had to wear like the headbands to pull it out of my eyes.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
So I started shaving it just out of convenience.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like, well, this is easy, and I don't pay anything.
Right.
So I'm going to do it. And now I'm like, I looked at these pictures and I was like, man, I had a really good head of hair, and I kind of miss it. So I think the real question is, how am I, like, I think I'm going to be a silver fox.
Look at that. Wouldn't that be something?
I think it's going to come back gray.
That would be fantastic.
I think it's coming back gray, man. And look, I reserve the right to shave it back.
Oh, well, of course you do. Of course.
So all in all, it's been a good run.
Yeah.
I now know I can pull off the shave head look and feel good about it, feel confident in it. But I think I'm going back. So actually right now, I've started the process of growing it back out. You can see like, well, I can shave, but like if I take off my headphones and my hat, this is like longer than it normally would be. So we're going to go back into this idea of over vacation. I'm going to let it grow. And then when I come back, I'm going to just shape it and let it grow, on top, and sort of just see what happens. So when I see you in a couple of weeks, it's not really going to be that different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It won't be that different when I see you, but we're Joe Marie kind of got me thinking. I've been kicking it around for about the last month. I'm like, I miss
we video record every week. We're going to be able to follow this process.
The hair growing process.
We're going to be able to follow this process very closely.
You're right.
We're going to need an update every week
on how much it's grown.
It's going to be like the Warriors updates, only it's going to be Azzy hair updates.
The Azzy hair updates are at the beginning of the show.
This is going to be great.
I'm excited that you're
If
excited.
that doesn't pull in at least 7 subscribers, I'm not sure what does, to be quite honest.
The Azzy hair journey begins
especially if
tonight.
It turns out Silver Fox. I mean, we might pull in like 20. We might pull in 20.
Listen, if it comes out Silver Fox, it's a whole.
I'm just going to put you as the thumbnail of like going like this.
Oh man, we're going to rename the show.
Listen, I'm going to go to my grave with this, and I'm going to love it. And this is no offense to anyone who grows out hair, but I will go my whole life having never done the Justin Bieber hair thing to my own hair.
I don't have enough hair to do that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I wear it as a badge of honor that I'm going to go to my grave never having actually done this to get the hair out of my eyes.
I'm really proud of you for that.
I'm proud of myself, to be quite honest.
I'm very proud of you for that. I mean, it's a special talent to be able to do.
It is. Listen, Ryan Cajun can pull it off, and I can't. So
no. Well, look, mine will not get that long. It's going to be just long enough that I can do something with it.
I got you.
But I actually do miss it. I miss my hair. Again, that being said, I reserve the right to shave it if I grows back out. If it is too silvery foxy,
This is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to monitor this.
I'm excited that you're excited.
It's going to be fantastic.
I'm excited that you're excited. And if you really want to be a part of this journey, click subscribe on the YouTube channel below. That's where we start the end to this episode. Like, you just got to go subscribe.
Folks, come on. That segue enough is worth the subscription. I mean, come on now.
If you want to follow the journey with us, click subscribe on the box below us on your screen. And once you do that, go to wherever you listen to your audio format and make sure that you click follow and rate us so that it gets out there to more people. I think if you've already started doing that, that might be where our subscribers are coming from. Maybe people are starting to share. Do it. Take the time to do it so we can get out there to more people.
You want to hear another cool number?
Tell me.
Passed over the 4K downloads.
There it is. We're going to be at 5K here soon. It's wild.
She's a coming.
It's wild. We're just riding high right now. Just riding high.
Great stuff.
So make sure that that's, in the plan, keep downloading, keep finding us on wherever you listen to your podcast. You can follow us on all your social, Instagram, Birdies and Beer at B&B Podcast. Follow us at the Phixated Pod, both are on Twitter. You can follow at B&B on Twitter as well. Follow me at the Mic Drop 5 and Regz at Regz with Z. And then you can follow us over on Facebook fan page. And of course, click the merchandise link in the show description below. I think we'll probably do a hair t-shirt as well.
Especially if it's Silver Fox.
If it's Silver Fox. It's going
to be an outline of your head with just your hair gray.
And Fox will be spelled with a PH.
Yes, it will.
All right, everybody. We will not have an episode this coming week. I will be on the beaches of Cancun for the next 7 days.
Enjoy your time, friends. Safe travels.
Thanks, buddy. We'll be back with you again the week of the 4th of July. Regz and I will be together on the 7th golfing. The 8th golfing. Sorry, it's Saturday. We'll be together on the 8th golfing. But we will be together on the 8th. We will have a show on this and be ready to rock again that week. Hopefully the Phillies will have, kind of taken off a little bit. But until then, everybody, take care, be good, be kind to yourself, be kind to someone else. We'll talk to you soon. In the meantime, go hair, go Phils.
Go Silver Foxes is really what I want to say.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.